Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Bhuvaswaha Tat Switra Varenayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityurma Amritam Gamya Om Sahna Bhavatu सहनौ भुनक्तु सवीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. Let's start with verse number 97 and from verse 96 to 101 he's talking about the subtle body, and not just the subtle body but the effects of the subtle body too. Okay, so we are not the subtle body, but we have the subtle body. We got to always remember that. Okay, we are not these bodies, but these bodies have been gathered by us from the Prakriti. Idam Shriram Shrinu Suksham Sangitam Lingam Apanchikrit Bhoot Sambhavam Savasanam Karam Fal Anubhavakam Swagyanatah Anadihi Upadihi Atmanah. Idam means this. Shrir is the body. Shrinu, listen. Suksham Sangitam is known as subtle. So Sangya is like something to be called. So which is called or which is known as subtle. Lingam. It's also called Lingam. It's called subtle also. It's called Lingam also. Tu means indeed Panchikrit Bhoot Sambhavam, produced by the elements that have not undergone the process of Panchikaran. So when something has gone through the Panchikaran, the process of that Panchikaran, it becomes gross. But something which has not gone through that process is called subtle. Okay, so it's a Panchikrit Bhoot Sambhavam. So produced by the elements that have not undergone the process of Panchikaran. Savasanam, possessing vasanas, the tendencies. Savasanam. Karam fal anubhavakam, that causes enjoyments of fruits of past actions. Swa agyanataha, because of its own ignorance. Anadi, beginningless. Upadhi, limitations. Atmanaha, of the Atma. This is subtle body. Shankaracharya is saying, listen carefully. Sishrinu, listen carefully. Also called the Linga Sharir. Produced from the subtle elements, is possessed of the vasanas, the inclinations. And it causes the individual to experience the fruits of his past actions. It is the beginningless conditioning on the self brought about by its own ignorance. So that means we forgot who we are. We kept accumulating the vasanas, and because of those vasanas, those impressions, we just keep on suffering and enjoying since the beginning. Okay, you remember last week we learned that body is consisting of the 8 cities. The subtle body is consisting of the 8 cities, which is called a Ling Sharir. See, what is a Ling? Ling is a symbol of something that is not yet revealed. See, just like a Shiv Ling, that's a symbol of God. Okay, it's not revealed yet to ignorant person. So ling is a symbol of something that is not yet revealed. So that's how the subtle body is also. This subtle body is containing the latent urges in all of us. That's why it's called ling sharir. Those impressions are not revealed to us, but they are still there. This ling sharir is made up of thoughts and their functions. And it is composed of those 5 subtle elements. And how come he said 8? Then 5 subtle elements, then man, buddhi, and ahankar. 8 cities. And vasanas are the footprints of past thoughts. Always remember that. And if we are not aware of it, now we put more footprints on our thoughts, on our chitta. There are a lot of footprints from the past, but now currently we got to live a life with a full consciousness so that we don't put more footprints. So vasanas are the footprints of past thoughts and actions left upon the personality. They're not on the Atma. Atma doesn't have any footprints. It is on the personality. And because of these footprints, our mind is of a certain texture, certain quality, and a certain fragrance. Because of these vasanas. Vasanas keep on erupting. They're like similar to the thoughts keep on erupting in our mind. Vasanas keep on erupting too. And they prompt us to do endless activities. So that's what he's talking about over here. He has started to tell us about this subtle body of ours. Okay, so let me read it again. The subtle body, listen carefully, also called the Ling Sharir, produced from the subtle elements, is possessed of the vasanas. And it causes the individual to experience the fruits of his past actions. It is the beginningless conditioning on the self, brought about by its own ignorance. Like when we forgot who we are, we have added more and more impressions. Okay, so that's all he's telling us what this Ling Sharir is. Now let's look at number 98 and 99 together. Swapnah bhavati asye विभत्यवस्थः स्वमात्र शेषेण विभाति यत्र स्वप्ने तु बुद्धि स्वयं एव जागृत कालीन नानाविध वासना भी. Then in the 99 he says कर्तत्र आदि भावम प्रतिपद्य राजते यत्र स्वयं भाति ही अयम परात्मः धीमात्रे को उपाधि अशेष साक्षी ही न लिप्यते तत्कृत कर्म लेशः यस्मात् असंगः तथा एव कर्म भी न लिप्यते किंचित उपाधिना कृते. So swapan, let's start with 98 first. Swapan is dream. Bhavati means is. Asya means of this. Vibhaktya distinct state. How it's distinct? It's distinct from the waking state, because he talked about the waking state first. Now he's talking about the dream state. So it is a distinct from the waking state. Vibhaktya Swamatra asheshen, itself remaining alone. Vibhati shines. Yatra means where, swapne in dream, tu means indeed, buddhi intellect. Swayam ev, itself. Jagrat kaleen nanavid vasana bhi. Due to the various impressions collected during the time of waking. So when we are in a wakeful state, we collect many impressions. We are not collecting any impressions in the dream state. Okay. So dream is the state when this subtle body is distinctly in expression, where it expresses all by itself. Okay, so dreaming happens only in the subtle body. That's why we say mind is the one which is dreaming. So dream is the state when this subtle body is distinctly in expression, where it expresses all by itself. In a dream, the intellect by itself revels as the agent of experiences, etc., due to the various impressions gathered by it during its waking state. So during a waking state, we gather the impressions, and in dream state, we experience it. So the kind of a day we have, the same kind of a night we'll have. And it's not just one day and one night, it could be combination of many dates, because impressions go deeper and deeper into the chit and they come out. So he's beautifully defining what really happens in the dream state. And we all dream. He's not talking about the deep sleep state, because there's a wakeful state, there's a dream sleep state, then there's a deep sleep state. So he's talking about the dream state right now. Then in 99, he says, in this condition, still he's talking about the dream state. In this condition, the Supreme Self shines in its own glory, with the intellect as its only limitation. Witness of everything, uncontaminated in the least by the activities of the intellect. Since it is entirely unattached, it is not tainted by any action that its apparent conditioning may perform. Okay, so even though intellect is not really functioning at that time, but since the subtle body is still awake, there is something happening in the intellect. That's why in our dream also, sometimes we say it's a good dream. Sometimes we say, no, it is a bad dream. Or even during the dream also, we think that it's a very real dream. Dream itself seems very clear to us. So in this condition, the Supreme Self shines in its own glory. So self is never asleep. Body is sleeping, self never sleeps. That's why he said, in this condition, the Supreme Self shine its own glory, with the intellect at its only conditioning. Witness of everything, it's witnessing. It's not contaminated in the least by the activities of the intellect, because intellect is not doing any activity. It's entirely unattached. It's not tainted by any action. Okay, so dream is a state of consciousness when the self functions exclusively through the subtle body. That's what we have to learn. That's how it's different from the waking state. In the waking state, sure, the subtle body is working, but more so the gross body is working. So gross and the subtle body work together. But subtle body has its exclusive expression in the dream state of consciousness. Okay, so who is dreaming? Mind is dreaming. Yes, Jyoti.
Sujata has a question.
Yes, Sujata.
Hershey, could you repeat this one segment again, please?
Which one?
This last bit about the dream state. I want to know, I'm a little confused about the intellect.
Oh, intellect. Because see, literally what he is saying in verse number 99, that in this condition, so dream condition, the Supreme Self shines in its own glory, with the intellect as its only limitation. See, there are limitations. There's a limitation of the body. Upadhi. Limitation means upadhi over here. Okay. Witness of everything uncontaminated in the least by the activities of the intellect. So intellect, through intellect, we are observing the dream. Got it? Even though there's no activity going on, physically there's no activity going on, but whatever we are dreaming, intellect is the one which is taking further impression. Actually, that's why people want to, they run after the people who can read their dreams. Is it clear now? Okay. Okay. But it's entirely unattached. Why he said unattached? Because we really cannot, actively, we cannot do anything about the dream. It's only erupting from the chit. Intellect is watching, but cannot change. See, in the wakeful state, we can change things to a certain extent. In a dream, we cannot. All intellect is doing is just watching it. So that's why he used the word limitation also. That is the word he used, the word uncontaminated.
Hershey, what
Yes.
about this phenomenon of conscious dreaming?
Is a distraction that we have created.
Say that again, Sujata.
What about this phenomenon of conscious dreaming?
Conscious dreaming is, that is only yogis do that.
Is how we have fooled ourselves.
Because when we are more and more conscious, we live a conscious life, then we learn how to sleep consciously too. That's what Yoga Nidra is all about.
Okay.
Okay, that's a practice itself.
So
majority of the people are not conscious dreamers. They don't have any control over their dreams. So over here, he's talking about the average person like us.
Okay.
Not a yogi's dream.
Okay. But in Yoga Nidra, we are trying to be conscious.
In Yoga Nidra, we are consciously trying to learn how to go through these layers of our personality, becoming a master of these layers. Okay, otherwise we are not master of these layers. That's why they are called limitations. For a yogi, they are not limitations. Yogi can fly with these personalities also. Okay, so that's what you're talking about, which is right, but he's not talking about that right
Yeah,
now.
no, I just wanted to put it in the
yes,
into
definitely,
the right context.
definitely.
You know, so.
Okay. So, another point he's trying to make over here. Yes, Jyoti.
Manju has a question. Manju?
Yes, Manju.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Hershey. So you said through intellect, we are observing the dream, right?
Yes, yes,
So
that's
the mind
why,
is the observer, right?
yeah. Over there,
So
even though it's a light of the
dream,
Atma is shining
okay.
on the intellect, and intellect is definitely saying
Yeah.
whether it's a good dream or not. That's why we get scared sometimes, and sometimes we feel so good
So
about it. Okay.
You said supreme self shines in its own glory
Uh-huh.
with the limitation or something.
With the intellect as its only limitation.
So who's
So that means it's
with
not
intellect.
see what happens is
Okay.
when we are in samadhi, turiya state, there's no limitation of the intellect.
Hanji.
It's only the light of the Atma. Over here, still, intellect is its limitation. Okay, so with the intellect,
You can't, you
really don't see your true light.
You mean
It's not that if you sleep well and then
you
become,
can't.
you come out of sleep fully wise and
I got it.
got it. No matter how good of a sleep you did, when you get up,
Right.
your intellect will still be the same as you had before you slept.
Yes.
But the difference between this and samadhi is when you enter into the samadhi,
Right. Okay.
when you come out of samadhi, you have further evolved.
Yes.
That is the difference.
Right.
Okay.
You got more knowledge.
Yes, you are more, because you are closer to that.
The
God
source.
or the spirit or the energy is like a more clarity, and that's why it's called a self-realized state.
Gyan.
Yeah. In Hindi, they say Gyan Chakshu Khul Gaye.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it means.
Right.
Okay.
So you said dream is a state of consciousness when only subtle body is expressing itself, right?
Yes.
So and mind is the
yes. See, mind. What he tries to.
Mind is observer.
Mind is the yes, definitely. Mind is observing what is happening in the mind. Mind is observing its own mind, play of the mind.
Subtle body.
Yes.
The subtle body.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. One mind is watching the other three parts playing, right? Other three parts of the mind
Hershey, sorry, unmute
are watched
yourself.
by
Hershey,
the
sorry,
fourth
unmute
part,
yourself.
whatever.
All right. I thought I was speaking and you were listening. So when we see in our dreams, what we are seeing is the expression of our vasanas. That is the point he's trying to make. The latent impressions on our mind, that's you are seeing in a dream. Some of these impressions we have suppressed and they come up. Or even repressions during our waking condition. Or certain very vivid experiences also. It's like an inner drama is going on. Our own drama.
So what if we are not even dreaming?
That is good. That means the calmer mind, fewer vasanas, dream will become less also.
I really
Just like a yogi eats less, yogi dreams less also. Yogi excretes less also. We're going to learn that in Dattatraya's Avadhuta Gita. Because there's a purification in this body, further and further. But one another point he's trying to make over here, that Atma is untouched in all states of our experiences. Atma. All the three states, in a waking, dream, and deep sleep. So consciousness, you remember the other day I told you, consciousness and conscious. So right now I'm using the word consciousness, that's the Atma. Consciousness is an unattached witness of all what is happening within and without. Because it's a mere onlooker, only a watcher. It is never involved in the joys and the sorrows.
हर्ष जी आपने 99 के words का meaning दिया क्या?
Yes.
Oh, you did.
I thought I did. Yes.
I thought I missed them all.
See, 99, this is what we are talking about. When I started that in this condition, oh, you mean the word by word?
Yes, you haven't given us the word by word.
I have not. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think I jumped. Good. I'm glad you pointed it out. So let's look at it. Kartar adi bhavam. That is the very first word, right? The idea of I am the doer. Pratipadya. Paripadya means having assumed or attaining something. Rajate shines. Yatra means where. Swayam means itself. Bhati shines. He means indeed. Ayam means this. Paratma, the supreme self. Maybe if I would have given this earlier, maybe it would have been more clear to you. Sorry about that. Dhi matra ko upadhi, with buddhi as its only conditioning or limitation. Ashesh sakshihi, witness to everything. Na means not, lipyate, touched. Tat krit karam leshahe, by the least work done by it. Yasmat, that means because of, like a therefore. Asangaha, unattached. Tataha ev, by the same reason. Karam bhi, by actions. Na means not, lipyate is touched. Kinchit, in the least. Upadhina, by the conditionings. Kritai, done. Okay. So I hope I didn't go too fast. It's a long verse. Some of the words are very simple, but some are, especially when they combine the words like a compound words, looks like we don't know what this is, but when you break it down, it's pretty simple. Okay. So again, there's a big drama going on in our sleep. And this drama is our drama. Drama is because of our own vasanas. Drama is because of our own layers of the personality. But the consciousness is unattached. So to summarize these two verses, none of the activities of the upadhis, like a body, mind, and intellect, can ever bring about any contamination upon the self. So nobody's Atma is dirty. Nobody's. The Atma, even though it lends its existence and energies to the worlds of this matter for their activities, but it never gets involved in the imperfect paintings of the inert matter conditionings. Okay, so this is what we have to remember. Atma is always pure, it's a watcher, and the moment we start identifying with the Atma, everything changes. The problem is that we, out of our own ignorance, we have forgotten who we are, and we just identify with what we are not. And that's what's called ignorance. That's what's called avidya. That's the point he's trying to make for us in these verses by going through different states of consciousness. So now you can see that how ignorant it is to even put meaning to our own dreams, or running around here and there to finding what does it really mean? I dreamt that. You know how many books are really written about the dreams also? Instead of reading that, if we try to meditate and spend all the time to know ourselves, there will be better clarity than visualizing and going back to what happened and why it happened in my dreams. Yes, Jyoti.
Raj has a question.
Yes, Raj.
Hershey, I have a question. Is there a distinction between dreams and visions? And are both
Yeah.
happening at the
Yeah,
same time?
normally vision is during our meditation. Vision, we are not doubtful about. That's why, don't I always tell you that after your meditation, the thoughts come, the inspirations come, the guidance come, write it down. Take a journal. Those are the visions. There's a more clarity in visions. Okay, that's why they are called pragya also. That's a vision. Does that answer your question, Raj?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That means
Okay.
sometime in your sleep, if you have a vision, it
Yes.
means you had kind of gone into
Yes,
meditation.
yes. And that's why I say that yogis, they have visions in their while they're dreaming also, because they are not dreaming just like Sujata said, conscious dreaming they are doing.
Mhm.
Okay. So in order to be aware of all this, you are living a more wakeful life and you are sleeping more wakefully too. That means you are more and more awake to your own real nature. Then sure, visions are there all the time. Visions are there. Yes, Jyoti, somebody else?
Urmilji.
Yes, Urmi.
You have to unmute yourself, Urmilji.
Yeah. We have studied a lot. I will re-listen to you, but the lecture. But there is so much about the dream and the intellect and the Atma that if we can all maybe have a group and we can write down all our points in a most systematic way, because when we are asking questions and all that, we go from subtle to the intellect to the dream state to the. I wish one day we can just do this in a very systematic way, knowing nothing but this thing, so that we can really systematically if I was to explain, I cannot explain as good as you. I want to always learn to the point where I can, somebody asks me, I can repeat with some clarity. And that clarity has not come in these 3-4
Okay.
verses of the
Okay.
past. I hope I made my point.
Yeah, no, you have made your point, Urmil. What has happened is he visits the issue and then revisits it.
Uh-huh.
He just almost like opens the flowers, then leaves it there, then again comes back to it. So that's why these scriptures, yeah, on your own also you have to study and start taking the notes also. Okay, so wherever you get stuck, you can always call me. Always call me. Okay, so but I can see where your see Bhagavad Gita is. It's even though there's a lot of repetition over there too, but
Straightforward.
elaboration is not as much. Over here, a lot of elaboration,
Yeah.
lot of detail, lot of new words also. So don't get confused. That is not the idea over here. Whatever you can understand, jot it down. Whatever you don't understand, jot it down on a different piece of paper,
Yeah.
and we can visit it, revisit it. We don't have any
I want to really write everything about that we have learned on gross body, subtle body, and the stream state,
Okay.
because this is such an important part of all the scripture learnings that we are doing.
Yes.
That if
Yes.
we are not crisply clear on this,
Yes.
that we can repeat fluently, then we haven't learned it.
Okay.
I mean,
Just I would say
our own effort has to be there.
Yeah, make your own notes, and then maybe one day we can just spend hour, 2 hours, just looking at your notes, going
Or-
through those.
Yeah.
We can
Okay.
do that.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely, we'll do it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
neither am I.
Neither are you. That's right. We can really grind it. जैसे कहते हैं ना, चटनी बना देनी है हमने इसके. So that we can
वो
absorb
भी
it.
बड़ी fine chutney.
But you mind exactly. That's right. Let's do one more verse over here. Verse number
100.
100. How about that? Sarv vyapriti karnam lingam idam seyat chida atmanaha punsaha vase adhikam iv takshnaha ten ev atmaha bhavati asangaha ayam. Sarv vyaptir karnam. See, Karan is always an instrument. So, instrument for all activities. Okay, Sarv. Sarv means all. Lingam idam, the subtle body. Idam means this. So, this subtle body. Sayat becomes Chid Atmanaha Punsaha, of the Atma, who is absolute consciousness. So in other words, this subtle body becomes the instrument for the Atma. Okay, very clear. Vasya adhikam, chisel, etc. Iv means like, takshanaha, of the carpenter. Ten ev, for that reason only. Atma, the self, bhavati is asangaha, unattached. Ayam means this. So now he is giving us a little analogy over here. He says, as the tools of a carpenter are his instruments, so the subtle body is an instrument for all activities of the Atma. And what is this Atma? The knowledge absolute. This Atma, therefore, is perfectly unattached. So over here, the description of the subtle body is being continued. So the mind, intellect, ego, they have no capacity actually on their own. They are inert. So by themselves, they are inert. Where are they getting the energy? From the Atma. So when mind, body, ego, intellect, when the Atma is presided over it, then they become alive. See, just like a carpenter, when he picks up the tools, whether it's a chisel or a plier or a hammer or a screwdriver, when he picks it up, there's energy in them. But otherwise, those instruments, they don't have any capacity to do any work unless the carpenter uses them. But carpenter himself is not the instrument. So the same way, Atma is not the instrument. Atma owns these instruments for this particular body. So consciousness or the Atma is something other than the instruments. That is the point he's trying to make it clear for us. So all activities, whether they are perceiving, feeling, thinking, belong to whom? The subtle body, which is the instrument, not to the Atma. Okay? So that's why they say self has neither enjoyments nor activities. Is it clear now? So it's not clear? Okay, we can talk about it. We don't have to move into the next one. What is the question, Sujata?
I mean, it seems like the Atma is doing something then from
No.
this verse.
Atma is not doing anything. There's nothing being done by the Atma.
But then it is giving, it is starting something.
All it's doing is there was a wedding between the Atma and the instruments. That's all.
There was an interaction.
That's all.
I see.
It's just like electricity is coming, flowing. And in the bulb, the same electricity is coming and giving us the light. So electricity is going into the fridge, giving us the coolness. So who is really giving the light or the coolness? The instrument.
But who created the instrument?
Another instrument with the light, with the power, created it. That is called a karam. The activity happened because of that light.
So it was just an epiphenomenon.
Yes. Yes. That's why Lord Krishna says, I don't do anything.
Except be.
Except be.
And as a result of the fact that the Atma is being itself, everything else happens.
Yeah, Atma is being everywhere, same way, same everywhere.
Right, but
Like Atma in a saint and Atma in a sinner is the same.
and so there's an interplay between the Atma and the ego, then you could say.
Atma is just giving the light, that's all.
Right, but the ego
Ego, whether you want to say it, yeah, the subtle body is the one which is deciding. And that part of subtle body which is deciding is the intellect.
And what is directing the intellect is the, I mean, everyone has intellect, but
yes, everybody has the intellect, and then it's not a particular direction is given. It's not that one Atma is directing it more than the other.
no.
It's only the clear intellect will make the right decisions. That's why we study. That's why Swadhyaya is needed. So that our minds are calmer, our intellect is sharper, so that we can decide better.
So, I mean, as long as we can shrink the ego to connect with the universal mind or the universal Atma, then we can hope to be reconnected with it.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right.
Gina has put in over here, it sounds like the intellect is the carpenter and the mind is the tools. Intellect is not really the carpenter. Intellect is also the tool. Carpenter and the tools over here, carpenter is the Atma, he says, the carpenter. So all he's saying is that there is a owner and there are instruments. Don't look at it that carpenter is doing the carpentry. That's not he's trying to, that's not why he gave that example. He gave the example, then there's an owner, carpenter, he has the tools. Then we are the Atma and we have the tools, and intellect is the tool, one of the tool. Body is one tool, mind is another tool, intellect is another tool, ego is another tool. So basically what he's talking about is the subtle body is the tool, just like a carpenter has the tools. Okay, don't mix these two together.
The carpenter uses his instruments. He is actively the doer when he cuts and does whatever. Whereas Atma, you say, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's why I said
It
do
just,
not
does it rent it out?
do not dissect what carpenter does, just what carpenter has.
Okay. No argument.
There's a carpenter and carpenter's tools. Over here, Atma, and Atma has the tools. That's where you need to stop here. Do not think further. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, Jyoti.
Rita has a question. Rita.
Yeah, Hershey, a question. This is so Atma is only one Atma for everybody.
Yes.
That sinner and saint have the same, but then the subtle body is separate for everybody. Yes?
Say that again, you were not clear.
Okay, Atma is one for everybody, sinner or
Remember, in the absolute sense, Atma is one.
one. But what
But
about
right now where we are, we have not realized that one Atma.
Okay, okay.
Right now, what we know, my Atma and your Atma.
Okay. But then
It's almost like there is a space. The space is one. We build a house in the space. What do? Different rooms. Space is one. But we have made different rooms in that. And in the same house, we say this is a bedroom and this is a bathroom and this is a kitchen. The same thing we have done. Atma is one. What we have with our own limited, this is the ignorance. And this is the ignorance we have to come out of.
So subtle body is different for everybody then.
Subtle body we have created. Subtle body not just for everybody. Subtle body changes from moment to moment.
Okay.
Right now in this class, we are trying to understand, and we are, I would say, predominantly sattvic intellect we have. When we get out of here, there is some kind of an argument starts. The same subtle body can get agitated.
And that's separate for everybody, right?
This changes for everybody all the time. Any given day, we go through so many changes. See, that is the nature of the subtle body or even the gross body. It changes.
Thank you.
It constantly changes. Atma doesn't change. By definition, soul does not change. God does not change. And soul is part of God. I'm talking about the soul, which is a Shuddha Buddha Atma. It's no different than Paramatma. That is this philosophy we are learning. Yes, Jyoti.
Pramila has a question.
Yes, Pramila.
Hershey, I just wanted to clarify in my mind. Atma gives energy to the subtle body, and just like a flowchart, then it clarifies the intellect. Then we make the decisions. Is that how the flowchart goes?
Yeah. See, subtle body. See, remember, subtle body has 4 things in there.
Yes, mind,
intellect,
intellect,
chit, and the ego.
Yes.
So Atma is giving the
energy
to all of it.
Yes.
And
yes.
Atma is giving the energy to the gross body also.
Gross body also. Okay.
Gross body is what we discussed a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
This body we live in, the body which is going to be left behind.
Okay.
Okay. The
so
body
it gives to both of them.
Both of them. Oh yes, Atma is giving the light to all of them.
Energy to both of them.
Yes.
Body, mind, intellect, ego.
Yes.
Then we make the clear intellect, then we make the decisions.
Yes, yes.
And just the flow chart in my mind.
Yeah, definitely. And then goal of life, you see, we should always remember while studying all this, the ultimate goal of life for all of us is to know who we are.
Yes, that of course is there.
Yeah.
That is always there.
Yeah, the more and more clarity there is that what our ultimate purpose of life is, that
To
who
be
we
with him.
are, who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've forgotten that we have made the temporary goals as permanent goals and made our lives very, very complicated. It's okay to earn, it's okay to have relationships, it's okay to enjoy life. Nobody says don't do that, but not at the cost of letting go of the purpose of life. We came here to know ourselves clearly, not vaguely. Vaguely, we all know. We want to experience it. Okay? First-hand experience. Yes, Jyoti.
Thank you.
Raj has a question.
Hershey,
Yes.
two-part question. One is like Atma is unattached,
Mhm.
but it gives life to all the tools.
Mhm.
That the tools cannot be alive without Atma.
Mhm.
And then where does Chetana fit in? Because they say Chetana is the like electricity of the body.
The Chetana word is same as consciousness.
Okay.
This is another name for Atma.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what Chetana word is used. See, sometimes this vocabulary becomes confusing because it depends in which context it has been used. But normally, Chetana is the consciousness and consciousness is the Atma. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anybody else? Yeah, I like it that you are not just only listening and take my words for it. You are thinking, dissecting, understanding. But I would say go one step further, meditate also. You will see that. In meditation, whatever you study, it will become even clearer. Make a habit of meditating. I know you all pray every day. We should pray every day also. We should meditate every day too. You don't have to do 2 hours of meditation. Just start with 15 minutes of meditation. Start doing that. You will see that the clarity happens. Just like all these webs on our mind, they'll become clearer and clearer. Okay, please start doing that. So any other question? Okay, no other question. So we'll stop it here, but I would like somebody to sing some bhajan. Any singer we have today in our class?
Kamala.
Kamla is there?
मैं हूँ यहाँ पर हाँ जी
Okay, Kamla, if you don't mind singing for us.
इस बार मेरी टर्न आई नहीं है
Yeah. So you can sing today then. Okay?
हाँ मैं अभी कर देती हूँ
Yeah.
हाँ जी जरूर